What's going on, guys? This is TM25MD here, and I have something different. Today, I'll be talking about the new expansion and the new generals that were announced at TwitchCon by Counterplay Games this weekend. So I thought this is amazing news, and I'll do a video on it. And then I'll try and do some more ladder games and just show some S-rank play as well. But anyways, Immortal Vanguard is apparently the new set that will be added to the game. From what I heard, I believe it is 100 new cards. Yes, over 100 cards and new game mechanics. So I'll just give my initial thoughts and go over what is to come. Okay. So we're excited to announce the new expansion, Immortal Vanguard. This will be a large set due to release mid-November with new game mechanics and over 100 cards. This is going to be amazing. Man, I don't know if you're going to have to rotate set cards out that are like, I don't know, like 1 month you can't use Rise of the Bloodmoor, and 1 month you can't use Ancient Bonds, so on and so forth. It'll be interesting to see what the game will do, what counterplay will do for ladder. Honestly, for me, I'm indifferent to having all the cards in at the same time. I would like to see how that goes. But also at the same time, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a rotation. Like I know a bunch of other CCGs do that as well. So I'm indifferent to whatever the decision may be. So, your eyes do not deceive you. Witness the next generation of generals. Guys, this is going to be amazing. Hopefully, I don't know if there are going to be any balance patches before this. That's what I would like to see as well. Some nerfs, buffs, mainly nerfs. I would like to see nerfed like Lava Slasher, Asher Summoning, EMP to an extent, etc. Flawless Perfection, another one. But, okay. Your eyes do not deceive you. Okay, we're extremely happy to introduce the first new generals to the game since launch. Coming fresh to the battlefield are 6 new faction generals with each their own unique bloodbound spells. We have a small preview of them now and more news about them to come in the short future. So they'll probably be doing. This is the first time I'm looking at this website or this page. This is the first time. I would imagine they're going to be doing something like they do with every expansion. They're going to have some streamers announce some cards leading up to the expansion. That's what I would imagine. So it's already, what is it, October 22, so it's going to be coming soon, a couple weeks. So for Liner, Brome Warcrest, 225 as always. I would have been interesting to see if like they would have like different stats on generals, but I think that would be too complicated for the game. His Bloodburn spell is summon a 1/2 Crescent Fall with Zeal Provoke in front of your general. The key thing here would be, the Zeal and the 1/2. Crescent Fall is just, I guess it's a new thing, a new unit. I wonder if it's unique only to this general, or if it will be, if it's an actual unit like a Silverguard Squire, right? It'll probably cost 1 mana, judging by the stats and the ability. It'll probably cost 1 mana as an actual unit, should they have it. In front of your general, I think that's the most key part, right? So you can't play it and like try and body block directly in front of something like horizontal. You'll have to try and play more defensively around that. So it's actually pretty interesting what this thing can do. If this was like Arjan, I think Arjan would love something like this, or maybe if it's even 0, I don't think it'll make it 0 mana, to be honest, because we saw how broken that could be with slow, right? I mean, this has 2 less stats and it has Zeal, so it's not guaranteed provoke all the time. But you know, a 4 mana Holy Immolation is just devastating, especially in tempo lists. So, but I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that. It's very strong, but we'll have to wait and see again what cards are going to be. So I can't say anything for sure because I don't have all the details. So I think this is an interesting Bloodbound spell. I don't think it's as useful as Arjan's, or it doesn't have the utility that Zeran's has. Like, she has a lot of support with healing. It'll be interesting to see what cards support Braum. But for now, I just from what we have, again, not everything has been released, so we don't know. It's interesting to see what he will do. So, but right now, I don't see him as being as strong as the other two, just from what we know so far. Next for Songhai, Shadai Storm Blossom, 2/5 again. General. Bloodbound spell, put a spell sword into your action bar that cannot be replaced. This is interesting. Since I don't know what a spell sword is, I'll comment on the replace mechanic, and possibly what could a spell sword be, right? Just from the sounds of it, maybe it's like a true strike, right? For 1 mana, maybe it's a true strike. But I don't think it'll be that simple. Maybe it'll be true strike and draw a card at the end of the turn. So like 2 damage, like then that'll be better than Gatatsu. It's really tough to say what it could be. I would say something that would deal a little bit of damage. That would be pretty nice, right? Because the spell sword sounds definitely, obviously, like a spell. Maybe it's an artifact. That's what I think it might be. Might be like an artifact. Give your general, I don't know, 1 attack, 2 attack, right? For 1 mana. I think that could be a possibility, a 2 attack artifact that you can put in your hand. Maybe that's why it cannot be replaced. But that's just speculation at this point. But the interesting thing is you cannot replace it, so I guess you are forced to use it. Like, I think the reason why they say you cannot replace it is the fact that it's going to be put into your action bar, right? And every single other Bloodbound spell its effect takes it's immediate. Its effect takes like then and there. So that's why I think that's why you can't replace it. You have to, they're trying to force you to use it like this turn, or try and save it up if it happens to be a spell. Try and save it up for the next turn. Get a big combo off with like 8 gates. Firestorm Mantra. I think that's support there. If it's sounds like it's most likely going to be spell, but if it so happens to be an artifact, which I think it might be as well, it definitely supports those archetypes, 8 gates and Mantra specifically. Moving on, Vitruvian. Love the art, by the way. I like the brute. He has the bulwark. I forget what it's called, soul bulwark or hollow bulwark, right? I would imagine these are spell swords, but anyways, or no, they're just like it's just basically looks like the Mark II Kalios with 4 arms, I guess. But anyways, getting off track. Vitruvian General, Siphiron Ascendant, General, 2/5. 225, Bloodborne spell, give an enemy minion -2 attack until the next turn. A bit overkill, really, given that Vitruvian has Falchius. I don't see this being particularly strong. I mean, I guess if it's a ranged minion, I don't know, this a key beholder that's in the corner, and you make it have 1 attack as opposed to 3. This has really good range, but given the cards that Vitruvian already has, Falchius and Blood of Air, I don't see much use for this, to be honest. Again, I would like to see the support this general gets, to see if this general Bloodbound spell needs a buffer. From right now, I think this is just hot trash. They have the ranged removal with Blood of Air. They have Falchius if you don't want to take a lot of damage. I mean, I guess it's a little bit more defensive because it lasts until your next turn. And it only applies to minions too, so it's not like what's that one? It's not Night Sorrow Assassin. It's a 3/2 It'll come to me. It's a 3/2, and it gives any enemy a -2 attack, so that can apply to generals as well. It's like a reverse healing mystic. I forget what it's called, but it'll hit me. But it's not like that. It only applies to. It's a ranged. It's like a ranged not bound tormentor, skull prophet. That's immediate, and again, I would need to see the support for this. This general would need a lot of support to back this up. But as of right now, I think this Bloodbound spell is just hot trash. Alright, Abyssian, my faction. Maeve, Maeve, Skin Soldier. Alright, Bloodbound spell. Destroy a friendly minion to summon a 4/4 husk on its space. Deal 2 damage to your general. Interesting ability, right? If you're running like a swarm list, I guess you can get a bigger minion out there for 1 mana. At the cost of 2 health. So I guess this is like a interesting style take on Swarm, I guess. You have healing, you can run, I don't know, maybe you could run something like Arcanist. If a Husk is, I don't think Husk is Arcanist, there's no way. I wonder what the effect on a Husk is. I don't see it being, I don't see it having an effect. Given that your general will take 2 damage, so that's a drawback right there. Tough to say what it would still be, but I think this would be an interesting take on Swarmless. Granted, it doesn't generate minions like Lilith does. Granted, you get a 4/4 at the cost of 1 minion. So if you play like Wraithling Swarm, Cryptographer, right? But you'll have to play your Bloodbone spell next turn. You'll get, assuming they clear 2 of the Wraithlings, you can get rid of 1 or more, and you'll have a 2/2 and a 4/4 on turn 2. I guess that's not bad value, but and I guess you'll have 4 mana going second, so you could play Deathfire Crescendo onto your Cryptographer. It's still not as efficient as I would like, but I can see this working as a somewhat Swarm list. Tough to really say. Again, I would need to see the support. Maybe there's more Dying Wish support. Actually, speaking of Dying Wish, I think the Dying Wish can go well. This doesn't even work with Dying Wish because it can. Never mind, it can. It won't work with Desolator though, because I would imagine the Husk would override the Desolator. But it doesn't matter. Desolator goes back to your hand. So what am I saying? What would take its place? Nothing. Actually, I think this could. Actually, never mind. I take that all back. I think this will go very well in a Dying Wish deck. So I think there is support there. You would just need a lot of healing support, right? You would need, or some preventative damage, like Klaxon provokes, right? I think it can be useful there. So Dying Wish, I think this is the general for Dying Wish. Get some bigger minions out to be more threatening, and get that Dying Wish effects off more easily. Since again, it only costs 1 mana, so if you play like Desolator on 5 mana when your Bloodborne spell is up, if you're going second, you play Desolator on 4. If your opponent can't answer it, or you just put it out of the way, you can put a Husk on it, right, when you have 5 mana, and then play another Desolator, and I think that's a pretty good value. You'll stay at the same health, right? But you still deal 2 damage, so I think that's actually a pretty decent combo there. I would like to try this out. This sounds pretty fun. So yeah, definitely Dying Wish there. Also pretty nice to proc something like Vorpal Reaver or Klaxon if you want to throw in an Obliterate or something, right? Pretty nice in those regards as well. Even decent on Nasher. It's a 3 damage AoE. Granted, you can just run something like Grasp of Agony, but if you throw it on Nasher, you'll get that immediate value there, right? So, alright, let's move on to Magmar. Ragnarok. That's literally just Ragnarok the Relentless. But anyways, Ragnarok the Relentless, 225 Bloodborne spell. Summon a Ripper Egg nearby your general. Okay, it's going to be assuming 1 mana again. Put in egg. Maybe some more egg support. But I think that's going to be a little bit over the top, especially if you can play something like Juggernaut, Flash Juggernaut on 6. If you give more egg support, I think it might be a little bit over the top, but we'll have to again wait and see. But we'll see. A Ripper Egg, what could this be? It's definitely not going to have Rush, because it will have Rush once it hatches. Since it will be an egg, will it have Rebirth? Like maybe it's like a 1/2, like Brahms, except instead of Zeal Provoke, it has it's a 1/2 with Rebirth. That's a possibility. But what's that? It does begin with an R, so I want to say something that has a similar effect to Risen. But that's just alliterations for you. But I want to say like a 1/2 with Rebirth. That sounds fair, right? Pretty good for contesting tiles. Kind of demands a little bit of ping from your opponent. Force out that Blood Tier Alchemist, which also might bring both your Alchemists to even more usage. So it'll be interesting to see how this or what effect this minion will have. Again, for me, 1/2, maybe a 2/1. I think a 2/1 is fair as well. 2/1, 1/2, maybe even a 1/3. 1/3 with Rebirth. All are pretty decent. I think 2/1 with Rebirth would be. I think the 1/2 is a little bit better, actually, now that I think about it. Because Cassimo's Bloodborne spell won't kill it right away. It will require another ping. A 2/1 will just kill it. So if it happens to get off against Cassimo, which I don't see it ever happening, the 2/1 will just die from a ping, because the ping will kill the egg, the creep will underspell, or excuse me, the ping will kill the minion, and there will be creep underneath, so the egg will die as well, assuming Rebirth. But it'll be pretty interesting to see. Next up, lastly, Elena Cryobite, Vanguard General, 225 Bloodborne spell, stun a nearby enemy minion. Pretty good. I think this is more directed towards walls, and the reason being I say that, you don't want your general. You don't want, usually when you're playing walls, you don't want the enemy general or the enemy to kind of advance on your position, right? You kind of want to try and stall to that 7-8 mana point, where you can get some big combos off, like Ghost Seraphim plus Flawless, or a Winter's Wake combo. And I think this general definitely supports that more than just phase pressure of just 2 Bloodborne spell pings, or 2 damage pings every so often, right? So I think this general advances that style of play a lot better. It's also worth noting all of the Vanguard generals are female, right? Maybe Kara's is trans, so assuming gender 2017. I mean, I guess all the Abyssian ones are female as well. Maeve, that sounds like a female name. This is a robot, so can't comment. This is a guy, so 2-1, more men than females in Songhai and Lana. These are all it's. Maybe they're guys. I don't know, assuming genders. But yeah, I like this better than the ping. I think this. I'm not typically a big fan of stun, but I could just see this advancing wall Vanguard or combo Vanguard's style play a little bit more. Especially for 1 mana, that's so cheap, right? Like the only difference that this has, and that just gives you a bit of perspective on how good Frigid Corona is, right? So basically for 1 more mana, you draw a card, and it can apply to generals, right? That's pretty good value for 1 card to be for 1 more mana. But for this alone, if your opponent starts just flooding you and you can't somehow deal with them, like you don't have a Frostburn in hand, you don't have Chromatic Cold, you don't have a Fox, you don't have an aspect of the Shim's Arm. This is definitely another form of pseudo removal, making it that much more threatening. If this was applied to generals as well, this would be broken. But I think this is very strong as it is right now. Again, given the cards that Vanguard currently has at the top end: Winter's Wake, Ghost Seraphim, Luminous Charge, Flawless Perfection, Icebreak, Ambush to an extent, Spirit of the Wild. This can help Mechazor decks as well, stalling to the point where you can actually get Mechazor, or even Mechazor plus Spirit of the Wild, right? Very strong ability, very, very strong, I think. Again, I would like to see what support this gets, but I don't think it needs much more support than this, because Vanguard already has all the removal in the world, as well as some ridiculous top-end plays, right? As mentioned. So there will be a streamer schedule, as I thought, revealing new cards leading up to the expansion. I would imagine the expansion would be, I said mid-November, so maybe sometime after the week, so maybe Monday. Monday the 13th, right? 13th of November, or maybe even Tuesday. That's also a possibility, right? The following day, so Tuesday the 14th, because they said they didn't give us an actual date. Mid-November, so the 14th would make sense. Maybe the 15th if they want to be right on the button. Kalazo, Lady Mare, Dark Lord Sen. This is a pretty good thing of streams. I don't remember who did there wasn't actually a Vanguard person last time, right? Lady Mare took a break. Mogwai was the guy at Mega Mogwai was one of the first ones when he released Huldra. I can't remember that, or I still remember that game. He was like, "Oh my god, Huldra, this is so good," or whatever, and it turns out Huldra just sucked. But you know, that just shows you how old I am in this game, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much what they're all is. I would like what I would like to see most. I would like to see the support for the generals. I would like to see what this liner gets for support. I'm curious because I'm a big fan of 8 gates. I'm not a big fan of Mantra, but I'm a pretty big fan of 8 gates. I'm curious what this kind of support this gets. I hope this doesn't get any. I hope this gets a ton of support because this ability sucks. Major dick. And I don't mean to be rude, but this is a really bad ability, especially in the faction that it's in. Especially like you have Blood of Aaron and Falchius. There's no reason to have something like this, in my opinion. Plus, the Xerix, whatever support they give this, Xerix will do better. To be honest, so. I really hope this thing gets a ton of support solely for this, because I really don't want to see Xerix getting any buffs. I don't want to see Vanguard getting more buffs. This is already an alternative style play, and this is ridiculously good. Magmar is always going to be like pretty decent given the large amount of stats that their faction has. So I don't think they need any more buffs than they already have. I'd like to see support, but not something absurd like Lava Slasher. Don't get me wrong, Magmar is one of my most played factions after Abyssian. I love Magmar, but I would also like to know what the effect of this would be. So I have high expectations. They did a really good job with Unearthed Prophecies, and I hope that Counterplay Games continues to impress me with their work. So yeah, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like. I really do appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments sections below, and I'll see you guys later. Later, guys.